The road to British Olympic cycling glory is not paved in gold.
Whoa, Cavendish upended.
It is strewn with rocks.
Another Sunday in hell.
Setbacks.
I've crashed before. I'll crash again, you know.
And pain.
There's no easy days in cycling anymore.
It's always a battle against myself.
It's about highs and lows.
Shit.
Damaged skin, ripped muscles, and dented dreams. Led by ambitious mastermind Dave Brailsford.
I hate losing. Oh.
In 2012, these British riders achieved a cycling first, winning the Tour de France and, just days later, Olympic gold. In British cycling's most amazing year, this is the inside story of their road of tragedy, survival, and triumph. In 2009, Dave Brailsford launched his British Pro Cycling team and announced to the world an historic ambition: to win the Tour de France with a British rider. He boldly claimed he would do it within 5 years.
Could a British rider win the Tour de France in 5 years? When you looked at it, and not just sort of gut feel, but you really looked at it in detail, then the answer is yes, it could be done.
No British rider had ever won the Tour, but Dave's grand ambition did not end there. In a sport mired in doping scandals, he determined to do it on pedal power alone.
I've always been a firm believer that you can win the world's biggest bike races clean.
It would be no mean feat. For years, accusations of doping and performance-enhancing blood transfusions have dogged the sport. Dave's never held back from telling the world what he thinks of the cheats.
If you're going to take your blood out into a bag and you're going to store it, and then you're going to have somebody to bring it along to a race or to a training camp, you're going to have to fly it somewhere, you're going to have to get in your room, you're going to have to reinfuse that blood and go to all of that hassle. The only reason you're doing it is to cheat.
But Dave believes he can beat the dopers, using a mixture of cutting-edge science and meticulous attention to detail to find the 15% performance improvement that doping reputedly offers. At the core of his war on drugs are what he calls marginal gains. It's all about the detail, finding a 1% margin for improvement in everything the team does to cancel out the advantage from doping.
It's just about doing the simple things really, really well.
You can't really control whether you win or not, but what you can do is you can control whether you're the absolute best that you can be. And if you are the absolute best that you can be, that improves your chance massively of winning.
As Team GB Performance Director in Beijing, Dave Brailsford steered his athletes to 14 Olympic medals, including 8 golds. The velodrome is a temple to Brailsford's methods, an entirely controllable environment where time is measured by the 100th of a second and a rider's performance can be analysed to the nth degree.
3, 2, 1, go! Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Dave's big idea is to introduce the science-led philosophy that bred such phenomenal success on the track into the very different beast of road racing.
We believe in coaching. We believe in putting the athlete first. So he wants to try and take that philosophy and culture into a professional team.
By building a British team, his plan is to create a protective environment where they can excel.
And all these young British talented riders who don't want to dope, they don't want to dope. They could actually find a home which is safe, and we could really try and do something.
Over 3 years, Dave has assembled a hand-picked team of specialists to realise his grand ambitions. Sports scientist Tim Kerrison, a stats cruncher for whom the route to victory can be plotted on a graph.
We're not trying to win a local race down the road. We're trying to win the biggest bike race and one of the biggest sporting achievements in the world, to win the Tour de France.
Psychiatrist Dr. Steve Peters who believes he can help riders manage their passions to combat psychological pressure.
My job is to look at how people's minds function, and the way I do that is to try and give them an understanding of the machine that's inside their head.
And sports director Sean Yates, a tough ex-pro known in cycling as the Beast.
Go on, all the way, all the way!
In the heat of battle, he's the team's motivator and master tactician.
At the moment, we are very, very strong. Certainly one of the strongest teams that I've ever, been part of. It is quite special.
Completing Dave's dream team, a cast of world-class mechanics, carers, physical therapists, a crack team of race coaches, and an elite squad of talented riders. By 2012, all 60-plus support staff and 28 riders are part of a machine working towards one goal. Their mission: to pull off the ultimate sporting heist and help propel this man, Bradley Wiggins, to victory in the world's toughest bike race.
I want to win the Tour, yeah. I mean, that's what we've been working for so long now, and there's no second place really for me.
And no second choice for Dave. Bradley Wiggins is the arrow of his ambition. He's also team leader, not a role he's always been comfortable with.
When he became the team leader in 2010, he wasn't used to being the #1 man, calling the shots. And it took him a fair while to get his head around that and to be the boss, the boss man, and insist what he wanted. Brad doubts himself, although he's getting better.
I tend not to try and conform too much to kind of how you should be, and I have tried in the past. And in the end, I am who I am, and I try and just be like that, and I think my passion for the sport comes across.
In Dave's grand plan, to win the Tour and just days later Olympic gold, the whole team must be at the top of their game. Achieving this the Brailsford way is a science, not an art.
We're doing 1 hour loop before we get to the road along the seafront where we're going to do these team time trial efforts.
Guided by their coaches, all riders are expected to sign up to Dave's way of thinking.
Compliance, that's what a coach should do. Help athletes comply to their training. So when they're having a problem at home or they're, find out what is it that stops you complying or fulfilling every day the training necessary to get where you want to be. What gets in the way? Why did you get injured? Why did you get ill? Why are you not eating correctly? What's stopping that compliance? And a coach should be helping that compliance. They get a lot more results.
There are a lot of specific things you can do in training in order to get ready to perform in races. All the bikes have a power meter on. We also measure how fast the pedals are turning, heart rate, speed, altitude. And at the end of the ride, we download that and we'll sit down and sort of analyse where the rider's at. That's his target curve there.
Yeah.
Between sort of through this threshold and capacity area is 20 to 30 watts further ahead than he was last year.
It gives you a rough idea of where we're going to finish in the Tour from the powers I'm producing for my body weight. All I train to is numbers, really.
The data from every training session is recorded and analysed by Tim Kerrison. Each individual event is scrutinised, every possible permutation mapped to ensure that Bradley Wiggins and the team are best equipped to perform in July. In 2010, when the team first attempted the Tour de France, Bradley struggled at altitude. For the team to win in 2012, they need to conquer the mountains.
The riders have to be very fit and they're well conditioned. They have to be able to climb, they have to be able to perform at altitude, and they have to be able to perform in the heat.
You have to be ready to race. You have to be fit enough to race, and therefore let's unpick that and make sure we get good at that.
Breathing does not come easy in the thin, dry air at the top of a mountain. As part of his programme of marginal gains, Dave has flown a select group of riders to Tenerife to train at high altitude on the isolated slopes of a dormant volcano.
We're here basically to train and acclimatise to altitude. It was something I really struggled with in 2010. And we came here last year for the first time. It seemed to have an instant response when I won Dauphiné, and that's it. Ever since we've been coming back.
Altitude training enhances the body's ability to utilise oxygen and can produce increases in speed, strength, endurance and recovery.
When the guys first come up here, there's quite a significant, up to about 15 to 20% decrease in their aerobic capacity.
Basically, your whole body's working harder at altitude, so that when you go back down to sea level afterwards, it almost feels like you're just riding without breathing.
But this training camp is not just about altitude.
We're here primarily really for the climbing. The guys do around about 16,000 metres of sort of vertical climbing per week. So that's the equivalent of riding from sea level to the top of Mount Everest twice.
Cycling maestro Dave Brailsford's mantra is marginal gains. It's a philosophy designed to wrestle increased performance from every cog, wheel and muscle of man and machine. As part of his mission to mastermind the first British victory at the Tour de France, he sent team leader Bradley Wiggins and senior support rider Chris Froome to Tenerife to train at altitude in the shadow of Europe's highest volcano.
Today it's our last sort of quality day before we go home. We're going to have quite a big testing day, so we're going to basically empty the tank today, and it's like going to a race really. There's a job to do and you do it.
Number-crunching sports scientist Tim Kerrison and Bradley's mentor Shane Sutton are cracking the whip.
I've just ridden up there this morning, so better them than me, I can tell you. It's a hard time, it's a hard time. It'll be about 4 hours riding, I suppose, but full gas effort, maximum, all the way up to the top.
In such a massive year for the team, there are concerns about Bradley's state of mind.
Brad said he didn't sleep.
Even though all the best training he's done this year, there's been nothing he's done on this camp that's been as good as what he did the last week.
He's got to learn to ride on field.
It's not just the riders' bodies that are being tested here.
Your mind is naturally saying, stop, 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 this is hurting. If you want to breathe normally again, you want your legs to not be aching, your back not to be aching. But somehow you've got to find a reason to keep pushing on. And that's why I think so many people say cycling is all up in the head.
You can have all the physical aspects of being the best in the world on a bike, but if you haven't got it upstairs, then you know you haven't got it really.
It is one of the demands of the tour. You have to race at altitude. You have to be in the red like they were today. You know, they're 2,000 metres in the red, full gas. So, you know, they're training for what you call the demands of the event. But ultimately, it still goes down to one key element. If Bradley Wiggins, Chris Froome, if they don't believe in what they're doing, they ain't going to win.
There's an emotional side and there's a logical side, and your emotional side will hijack you. And if you can learn to manage that and recognise it, that's a very, very powerful thing.
Can you hear us, Ben?
Yeah.
The machine's just warming up, so another minute or two.
Psychiatrist Steve Peters has the job of teaching the riders how to control the irrational, emotional part of their brains, the part he calls their inner chimp.
As a doctor coming into this, what I've done is used the medical model to look at the human mind and say, how do you get optimum performance from it? So my job effectively is to work on any psychological issues.
Well done, Ben. That's absolutely fantastic.
It's more learning a skill of saying, where do I want my thoughts, feelings, emotions at critical points in a race, and then they learn how to shift the blood supply effectively and say, this is the bit of the brain I'm going to use at this point. So when I keep saying, oh, you get all this emotion, you know, when something happens and you react, that bit there, this is the chimp in the centre of the brain, okay?
Yeah.
And then the human sits at the front of the brain. This is your frontal lobe.
Yeah.
So that's where we have the battle between the two of them.
Peters works closely with the riders to try to conquer their emotional chimp and learn to think logically.
Yeah? What's your happiness level out of 10?
Probably about 8.
What would make it 10 out of 10?
I mean, there's a couple of those other things going on, you know, with an injury that's dragged me on a bit.
You've got an injury. Are you doing everything you can to deal with the injury?
Yes.
If you think about this logically, the injury is not causing you to drop to 8 out of 10 for happiness. Are you ready? It's very subtle, this. The reason you're dropping to 8 out of 10 is you're not accepting the situation. That's different.
Yeah, okay.
In the past, Bradley has struggled with his inner chimp.
I used to think a lot about these things and the what ifs and how's this going to do, and it's always a battle against myself really, and just instilling that self-belief in myself. It's like 2%, you know, it's like kind of, there's the kind of rational person and then there's the person, and then that, you know, they'll call it that chimp thing, which I don't have any, can't call it a chimp, so it's just me.
Bradley has become a 95% compliant guy. It took him some time to get there, and every now and again, like anybody in life, you need support with that, as we all do. I think he's just matured, and he's getting very comfortable at being the leader in big races.
Bradley's leadership is about to be put to the test. 3 key races in the cycling calendar mark out the likely winner of the Tour de France. Bradley's already won one, Paris-Nice. Now he faces the next, the Tour de Romandie. All of the top teams are here, looking to make an impression in the build-up to the Tour de France.
Are you married?
As team leader, Bradley is supported by an elite team of riders known as domestiques, here including the Australian duo of Richie Porte and Michael Rogers, and the versatile Brit Chris Froome. The pre-race briefing is the last opportunity to rehearse tactics and motivate the team.
We're here to win this race, right? But for me, also, there's a lot of learning you can do this week. A lot of learning, you know, and I think that's the important thing. We've got to go through scenarios and then see what we can learn out of it. So we should be better and more prepared by the end of this week going in with our planning for the Tour than we are now. And just get out there and smash it. My take on life.
We're going to leave. It's time.
Motivator and senior sports director Sean Yates uses the final minutes to fine-tune Bradley's state of mind.
So you're feeling good. Tim says you're flying.
Yeah.
Just don't take any chances. We've got a strong team here. It's not that long, and we just take the race on. And like I said, the plan, you know, we're leading towards. Now's the real build-up. Now it's within sight, isn't it? You know. And
It is, but you know, for 4 days of concentration, we can win this. We dominate the race. We take it on.
Today's stage starts on the banks of Lake Geneva, travelling 185 kilometres to La Chaux-de-Fonds, nestled in the Swiss mountains. It's expected to end in a bunch sprint, an often chaotic and closely contested finish to a race, suited to explosive, fast riders. In his career, Bradley has never won a bunch sprint. From the team car, Sean can communicate with the riders over two-way radio.
55 seconds. Great job, Danny.
To win the Tour de France, Bradley and his team need incredible all-round abilities. To pace themselves in time trials, climb the most challenging of mountains, and battle in bunch sprints like the one they face today.
Use your head and ride as a unit and follow.
Bradley's mental strength is tested almost immediately by a mechanical failure.
Bradley has punctured me. Shit. Bradley's punctured front wheel.
Crevaison, crevaison.
It would appear to be a problem for Bradley Wiggins at this point. You don't want to get caught out here, Graham, because once they start motoring at the front, or if they start motoring at the front, it'll be a long chase back here.
Bradley's had a puncture with 20 kilometres to go. A replacement wheel is provided by Aussie domestique Richie Port, putting himself out of the race.
Come on the wheel.
Come on, Brad.
In the past, a setback like this could throw Bradley off course. Now he uses it to fuel the fight.
And there's Rogers and there's Wiggins. Look, they've worked hard to get back up towards this. That was a bit of a desperate chase.
That's what he was saying about, that mentality.
Despite the puncture, Bradley fights his way back through the field to regain contact with the race leaders.
A lot of looking around going on here. And Wiggins straight on the wheel there. Maybe Wiggins wishes to assert some authority here.
Good job, Brad. Good job.
2 kilometres still to go. And Rabobank pushing along.
That's Bradley in third position.
Coming into the final kilometre. And the sprinters in the line. Looks like Van Garderen on the just behind. Wiggins is going to go for this one.
Yeah, he's going for it.
Go on, Bradley.
Wiggins is trying to lead this one out and win a sprint in the Tour of Romandie. And at the moment he's got it, and he's done it as well.
Hey! Woo! Hey!
Well, that's a tremendous finish.
Bradley wins the sprint. 80 guys, he wins the sprint.
Not often you see Wiggins win from a sprint. He's enjoying that. Bradley Wiggins in the British Champions jersey takes the sprint, and
good job.
I can't believe Brad won that. What a legend.
You wouldn't expect to see Brad win a sprint finish like that, but it just goes to show that some of the areas he's been working really hard on in training are paying off.
The nice thing is to think, if you're one of the other teams and you're watching that, you're thinking, is there anything the bloke can't do? He was a track rider. And then all of a sudden he started putting himself in road riding, and then all of a sudden he starts becoming a climber, then he's a GC rider, and now he's a sprinter.
Your first ever road win, isn't it, Brad? In a Master? I don't know. Isn't it?
Winning his first bunch sprint is proof that Wiggins is starting to believe.
I get really angry during the stage, so that really spurs me on. I kind of thrive off it and feed off of it. So there's a lot of adrenaline pumping in the fight, especially after that puncture. So that was good. It's a good day, Topped off by this shithole that we're staying in. So.
Bradley won the Tour de Romandie, but on the road to glory, there are far bigger challenges ahead. The grueling demands of the professional road race require riders to be both physically fit and mentally strong. Winter training boot camps in Mallorca and Tenerife are designed to boost fitness, while psychological fine-tuning takes care of a rider's emotional chimp.
Bradley's going to just tag along for the first part and then peel off, and also Richard and...
But a man is nothing without his machine. To win the toughest bike race in the world, the team also need cutting-edge kit.
We're constantly looking for the best equipment, the fastest position, the fastest bikes, the fastest wheels.
Much of an estimated €15 million annual budget is spent making sure no cog is unmeshed and no wheel unturned in the search for supremacy. At the operational hub in Belgium, there can be 150 bikes in the warehouse at any one time.
We've got all different combinations. Shimano wheels, the C24, the C35, the C50.
Plus 250 pairs of wheels and 500 spare tyres. To optimise performance, the road bikes weigh only 6.8 kilograms. The bare frame's less than a bag of sugar. As well as 8 mechanics, the travelling circus that is Team Sky includes carers, 4 doctors, 2 physios, a resident chef and a permanent bus driver. Each has a role to play in the pursuit of the ringmaster's marginal gains.
Let's really identify the simple things and not only do them well, let's do them better than anybody else and then make that the norm automatically day in, day out.
All those people off the bike and around us are working constantly to see where we can make other gains, because cycling has changed a lot in the last couple of years and everyone's looking to other areas now where they can make these gains.
Right now, the staff are preparing for the penultimate piece of the competitive jigsaw before the Tour de France, the Criterium du Dauphiné.
The Dauphiné is the second biggest race in France. It's run by ASO, who are the organiser of the Tour de France. And in my opinion, there's only the Grand Tours, Spain, Italy, and the Tour de France that are bigger. So it is a big event.
15 support staff are working at the Dauphiné. Their single goal, to make sure the riders have no other concern than riding their bikes.
If any of them aren't doing their jobs properly, it directly affects us. The bus driver, for example, if he gets lost getting to the finish one day, it means it's just a longer time for us to wait to start recovering for the next stage.
That bus driver today is Chris Slark.
Go left on the roundabout, second exit.
He's helped me out of a lot of situations. He's also stitched me up a few times, but...
Officially dubbed a performance vehicle, Slark's Kingdom is a space-age, pimped-up coach designed and refined for optimum rider performance.
If you look at the bus as an empty box, what would you put in that space that when the riders get on that bus from the end of the race to getting back to the hotel, how can they be better recovered and get a competitive advantage over the opposition?
It's not just a means of getting elite athletes from A to B. It's a sanctuary, a restroom, a mobile HQ.
The seats were, I believe, over £1,000 each. They are super comfortable. They recline and the footrest comes out as well if they want a little snooze. Most of the time they play music on the bus. We get everything from schoolgirl disco to wacky way out stuff from Michael Barry and Christian Knies with his dark rap and yeah, you get it all on here. You get it all. We've got the old mood lighting up here. That wasn't just a bling idea. Apparently, Steve Peters said that it does have some positive benefits, so it wasn't put on there to be flash. In the back, we've got like a little office area, and then if you want a bit of privacy, you just press the button and it frosts it out. Dave Brailsford's bollocking room. This is all for a reason, you know. It is all for marginal gains. It's to put the riders' heads in the right place. I mean, if they get off the bus and they're chilled and relaxed, and you know, then I've done my job, haven't I? So that's really what it's all about, is getting them recovered as quickly as possible.
Today is stage 4 of the Dauphiné, a 53.5-kilometre individual time trial. A cyclist races alone against the clock.
Our TT is always very stressful, man. Always. I've never done a TT where we haven't had stress.
Kilometre 10, you go over that bridge over the railway line, and then 200 metres after, you've got the sharp right there.
Pacing, control, and mental strength are paramount. It's here that all of the training, physical and psychological, will come to the fore.
Pace yourself. At least you got like a tailwind start, which will help you along your way. So yeah, good luck.
Before they set off, each rider warms up for 30 minutes on a static bike. It's essential to prepare the body, but also to tame the chimp.
Just trying to get into my own little world, really. You always get like a voice in the back of your head that sort of says, oh, you're going to be all right today or something. So I swear at it a lot and tell it to off and what have you. And I really have a go at myself. And but that's just something I've devised that works for me, you know.
As current leader of the Dauphiné, Bradley is the last to go, 2 minutes after his great rival, the winner of the Tour de France in 2011, Cadel Evans.
I know what I've got to do, and I need to go out there and do it, and I don't see anyone else around me, really.
While Wiggins is racing in the time trial, the support staff have a race all of their own. Each day, an advance party of carers and physios vacate one hotel and rush to the next to get the rooms ready for the rider's return.
222. Yeah. You know, we open and then we prepare the room or put the suitcases in.
It's no ordinary valet service. It's a daily deep spring clean, including a wholesale replacement of the hotel's standard bedding, with team issue linens laundered daily.
One big thing we've looked at over the last 3 years is sleep quality, and we've used a variety of bedding systems, but basically we transport mattresses and hypoallergenic bedding so that the athletes have consistent quality of sleep. They know the bed they sleep in each night feels the same, it is the same.
Generally the riders do really like them. Certainly the pillows as well, they are really good. It's a bit like being a glorified chambermaid.
The obsessive quest for marginal gains includes portable air conditioners installed and removed each day.
These are just an air filter, just to kind of clean the air a bit. It's quite cooling as well, actually. Pretty much, well, they have in all the rooms.
It's all designed to counter, by fair means not foul, the 15% competitive advantage doping can bring. A percentage gain here, a percentage gain there.
If they're not sleeping right, if they're not sleeping well, getting that part of their recovery, your reaction time on the bike is slower. Next thing you know, you've crashed.
The riders know that they're getting better cared for than anyone else in any other team, and I think it gives them a lot of confidence that we're doing everything we can to get them in the best possible shape to perform the next day.
That's the whole thing about marginal gains. Have lots of little things, and on their own they probably don't make a great deal of difference, but add them all together and that's the difference between this team and our rivals.
Superb, stick to the plan. Stay calm, Brady, you're great. Epic.
As the time trial progresses, it seems Bradley slept well.
This is great, Brad. All the boys will be proud of you. Come on.
Ooh, look at this. The fight is on.
At the second time check, he's gaining on Evans, even though the Australian started 2 minutes before him.
Come on, get him. Go on, Brad, 1 kilometre. No risks on the last corner, no risk on the last corner.
Wiggins has destroyed the opposition. 33 seconds ahead of the next fastest rider, and 1 minute 43 ahead of Cadel Evans.
Good job, Brad.
Yeah, good job, Brad. He's a man.
Chris Froome finishes 6th in a field of 180 riders.
That's okay. I'm happy with that. It's better than I was a month, 2 months ago, so no, I'm really happy.
After a race, for star and support riders alike, a familiar bed is a welcome haven.
The bed, you know, we do spend probably the most time off our bikes in our bed, so, you know, it's a huge advantage.
Like Richie said, like just something you know what you're going to come to in the evening, and you can just switch off and start recovering.
They need to sleep well. Tomorrow is a vital stage. The race is about to enter the mountains. It's said that the Tour de France is won or lost in the mountains. Today's stage of the Dauphiné will go some way to prepare the team for the steep challenges ahead. It's the Queen stage, the hardest of the race, an epic 167-kilometre slog into the Alps, finishing in the ski resort of Morzine.
It will be hard, no doubt about it, but in reality, the harder the better for us.
6 gruelling ascents, the last a brutal 1,700 metres high. Altitude training will be tested here, along with the disruptive antics of the inner chimp.
If you take climbing a mountain, it's a common scenario and you know it's going to hurt. You must therefore have natural fears that I won't be able to last the course. These are absolutely natural thoughts. You expect them to appear. Now, clearly, if you've got a rider who's got the ability to say, this is nonsense, I don't need to engage with any of this, and I actually won't engage and starts moving up the hill, then they'll be at an advantage to someone who deals with these thoughts and is arguing with themselves and then makes probably a very emotional judgment as to what they need to do.
As well as self-belief, climbing the mountains takes fuel. The team have their own resident chef, Soren. With each new day, he commandeers a new hotel kitchen. His menus, like everything else, are carefully designed for marginal gain.
I have never ever served ice cream for the riders. My job is not to serve, excuse me, shitty food.
Having Soren there constantly, you know, that's one area you can make a gain. We know where the food's come from. There's no chance of any contamination or getting food poisoning or anything because that just ensures that we have the quality food.
A lot of the things is also about how the food is working in the body to save the body from using more energy. If we can minimize the loss of energy for the riders so they are more fresh during competition, that's maybe, the difference between being up there and not being up there.
During the road race, riders burn off around 7,000 calories a day, nearly 3 times as much as a normal adult male. It's Soren's job to make sure they're refueled. Every last calorie is counted and intake calibrated. Early this morning, Chef Soren handmade the rice cakes that are packaged by the carers and handed out en route.
This is rice with Philadelphia light cheese and sugar and cinnamon.
Today, the riders will spend a punishing 5 hours in the saddle. Bradley is defending the leader's yellow jersey from his rivals, including last year's Tour winner, Cadel Evans. It's a pivotal stage, not only in the race, but the build-up to the Tour de France. Today is not just about Bradley. All of his support riders, his domestiques, will have to dig deep to get their leader over the mountain. Every calorie counted, every pillow plumped, every training mile recorded, every chimp confronted. It's here, on the road, that the Brailsford method is put to the test.
And these guys are going to have the work cut out today. Sky are all on the front of the peloton.
Team Sky want to win the Tour de France. That's what they've set out to do when they first formed. And this is the best opportunity. And the performance they're doing today is ranked up with any performance I've seen since I've been watching their cycling.
As the race climbs high into the Alps, carers David and Stefan, armed with provisions, position themselves roadside.
What do we have? We have rain jacket inside, then we have a couple of bars and a couple of gels and a bottle of minerals and sugars.
Bradley's team is controlling the race.
The guys are flying. There's guys all over the place up here.
Evans looks as though he's feeling the pressure a little bit. He's looking very comfortable and calm. Rogers just behind him. Richie Port doing a spectacular job.
And as far as I can see, we have the whole team in the bunch. It's a fantastic situation. Great job, guys.
This is where all of the marginal gains need to add up. A gain from training, from psychological support, from equipment, the team bus, from recovery, nutrition, and the combined efforts of all of Dave's staff.
All of our boys are still there, huh?
Come on, Evie.
The whole team is in here. There's guys all over the shop. Great job.
It's really incredible.
And that was an incredible display of powerful riding by Team Sky. Really wonderful.
Ben guys in top favor. Good job.
Ultimately, when you hit a climb like that today, your body takes over, and what we did today on that climb we've been doing in training in Tenerife. The way we're riding at the moment, we're so dominant.
It was good to be a part of. It was fantastic, you know, and we're all smiles for sure.
We're starting to build a really strong unit there who know how to race in the mountains, who know how to support each other, and can be there for Brad to make his job as easy as possible.
Well, that was a dream day. Everyone just pulled, did more than they were supposed to, so that was fantastic. The strength, the depth that the team showed. I mean, every time you heard on the radio that there was another big name getting shelled out the back, it just makes you want to go faster.
The following day, the team sealed the deal. For the second year running, Bradley won the Critérium du Dauphiné. As the only rider ever to win Paris-Nice, Tour de Romandie and the Dauphiné in the same season, it's an historic hat-trick, and one that bodes well for the fight to come.
I think he's the best he's ever been, both mentally and physically, so it's all looking good, really.
If Brad continues the way he has done this week, then he will go into the Tour as the hot favourite.
There's a very different Bradley who really believed in what he was doing and didn't put a foot wrong. He seems to become a lot more assured in himself about how to operate at the highest level.
Bradley. Well done, Brad.
Thank you. What the team has done for me this season in winning these races is it's given me a cleaner run to the Tour mentally.
Bradley's now one of the favourites for the Tour de France, but the team need all the help they can get to stave off the competition.
As hard as we're working on the bike and off the bike to perform to the absolute maximum, everyone around us is doing the same thing. The wins and everything we're doing out on the road is just inspiring everyone else around us, so I think now it's better than ever it has been, and within a team like this, I don't think you could ask to be in a better team.
Bradley's next prize is the big one, the most prestigious road race of all, the Tour de France. Dave's star riders don't succeed alone.
Without them, I would be incapable of winning something like the Tour de France.
And we're going to the Tour with the best team, yes.
Fearless, selfless Iron Men are essential for their victory.
As ready as I'll ever be.
They're absolutely fundamental to the whole sport, and I think the engine room of the team.
Tempered in the toughest of races.
Another Sunday in hell.
Using CGI, reenactments and interviews with national treasures, Sky Atlantic brings 2,000 years of history to life to find out what truly makes a nation in a brand new series.